Greetings, Angus Woodhead from Glasshouse Studios. I have got something really cool for you today. Please make welcome David Deaton, session guitarist and producer, and Super Cam, who's also a producer and a rapper. Today we're talking about the Lawrie Minson M8 Pedal. So this is the pedal here. Dave, just give us a little demo of quickly what we've got there. Got some questions here I'm just going to ask, and we'll get Lawrie to answer the questions. He's recorded these in his own, he's got a bedroom studio set up, a little personal studio, so he's answered the questions there. So Lawrie, first question, what prompted you to design and build your first guitar pedals?
I have a background in electronics from when I was young, and then I went into playing music full-time when I was 20. I was in the Lee Koenigen band for many years, and Jake Lardo was the electric guitar player. He turned up one day with a little booster he had built. The circuit board was about the size of a postage stamp. That reignited my interest, and I started putting together some of my own effects modules after that.
How long have you been building and selling the M8?
Like everyone, I started with single unit effects pedals, and then I fitted two into a single enclosure. Then I started linking them together like everyone else does. Then I got all the noise because you have separate signal and power cables for each pedal. The M8 is a great multi-effect option because there is a much lower noise floor, and it is one of the few multi-effects units where all the effects do sound good. I've been selling them for about 3 years now.
Did you design all the separate elements of the M8?
You need a starting point, and then the tweaking begins. The compressor is a good example. The Ross-modified MXR Dynacomp is reputed to be one of the best, yet its output is 180 degrees out of phase with the input. That may not sound so bad, but it really affects the sustain. It also can't handle heavy input signals such as the pedal steel guitar. I was fortunate to have the help of Bass Speck, who was living here in Tamworth at the time, and it's largely due to his knowledge that so many of these modules sound so good. Another example is the design of the King Brown. I was after a tube screamer style drive without the mid-range honk. He found a very original circuit in a Dutch publication. It was a complex design, but he found a way to simplify the circuit to make it run on a 9-volt rail, and I worked on the filtering to get the right tone, and it eats most other op-amp style overdrives on the market.
How important is tone and true bypass to a guitarist, and how does the M8 achieve this?
Great tone is a lifelong pursuit. In the early days, most pedals were wired true bypass. That is, when the effect is off, there is no circuitry in the signal chain. The main problem that arises with this is switch clicking, especially when you have a high gain setup. Electronic switching was introduced to counter this problem. It eliminated the clicking, but when you have 3 or 4 or more pedals linked together, a problem called tone sucking happens, where the combined effect of all the electronic switching starts loading your pickups because all the circuitry is still in the signal chain regardless of whether the effects are on or off. My approach is simple. I assume you have a nice instrument and a good amp. Anything you put between those two should enhance what you already have. That's why I connect my effects using true bypass.
Can you name some other people using your pedals?
During my time as a professional musician, I've come in contact with a lot of very talented people, and a lot of those are using my pedals these days. Producers include Garth Porter, Lindsay Waddington from Crosscut, and also Angus Woodhead. Musicians include Dominic Turner from the Backsliders, Sam Hawksley from the Bodines, Judah Kelly, winner of The Voice 2017, Bruce Reid from Dragon, Ross Wilson, Kirk LaRange, Duncan Toombs, Michelle Rose, Liam Kennedy Clark, Travis New, Travis Collins, Benji Pocock, Roger Corbett from the Bushwhackers, Kim Bear from the Adam Eckersley Band, Rod Motby, Steve Passfield, Steve Newton, Sophie Botter, and the great blues player Tim Gaze.
What have you got planned in the future, Lawrie? Any new pedals on the drawing board?
I'd like to expand my range and be able to offer a good chorus and also a phaser, but there's quite a bit of circuitry in both of those, so I'll need to figure out a way to make it all fit. I like the size of the enclosures I use, and I would be reluctant to make them any bigger, but as I also like to use old school components instead of surface mount parts, there's always an issue with available space.
And finally, Lawrie, Have you got anything else that you want to mention that's important to listeners?
Quality gear is like putting a microscope on your playing. It can make a good guitar player sound great, but it can also show up flaws in your playing. When you combine good technique and a sense of musicality, combined with great equipment, that's where you will find gold.
Thanks very much, Lawrie. That's great. That is the Lawrie Minson M8. Absolutely love it. And man, what a pedal. That is just fantastic. So much control, so many different tones, and just very usable. I actually bought it to use in the studio. Dave actually has we only could plug this in this morning. It only arrived last week, and plugged it in, and Dave's already ordered one. We were just on the phone to Lawrie before and said, look, we need another one of these. So Lawrie does a few different pedals, so we'll put all the contact details up, and you know, can really highly recommend. And you're supporting a boutique, handmade pedal by an Australian guy. Lawrie lives in Tamworth, and yeah, there's a reason why a lot of the best players and producers are using these units. They're just fantastic. Special thanks to Dave. Cam's just ducked out, very busy producer. He's ducked out to make a few phone calls. I'd like to say a special thanks to T-Dub, Dubs, who's doing our videoing today. And yeah, catch you on the next video.